I wanted to do something a little more fantastical than just talking into a camera, but fortunately I have severely overestimated myself and I don't know how to edit videos. Context. Context. I'm in competition with a friend, and the competition is who can create more than the other each week. Ooh. I can't speak for them, but I feel like too much of my time is spent consuming. I'm reading a script right now. Consuming is not innately bad, but definitely feels bad. Tracking this feels difficult because there's no real definition of creation. So I would probably score it using some function of time invested into this versus the impact that it has. So an example would be like taking an hour to draw something, and I just show it, like, or I just keep it to myself. Isn't really worth as much as something that I took an hour drawing and then show to millions of people. I believe that that has more value, just like objectively more value. Impact is a difficult thing to score, so for the purpose of this, we are just using the time invested in creation. Going based off of the honor system, which is great, because the point of this is just to be better humans. Makes sense. But I want to flesh it out a little bit. I want to do something a little more formalized, but because I suck, and I'm giving myself an arbitrary deadline of 2 weeks, this video will not include any sort of specific formalization. So, gotta get rid of that. Here's what I've done so far in my head. Created a spectrum of creation. So we have a lot of different types of creation, and the competition is just a threshold on that spectrum, where anything to the left of it is not really counted, and anything to the right of it is good enough to count those. And I think throughout this, the threshold will probably shift a little bit. So some obvious ones that will not count are the creation of thoughts, because I'm doing that all the time. I'm not going to count my existence as time done creating. Speaking sentences gets a little iffy since I'm like speaking to a camera right now, so like the act of creation is this video. But if I'm having a conversation, a little bit of a small talk with someone, like sure I'm producing words and creating words, but that doesn't really count. Creating muscle signals to scroll through Instagram or any sort of social media app. Definitely not a good use of the creation of little signals, so it can count. But under like the bigger umbrella of creation, yeah, that counts. Cool. Next up, the things that definitely count. I would say drawing. Drawing definitely counts because you are physically creating something. There is an engraving on like a tangible thing. Writing as well, just like the physical act of engraving, I feel like is a proper creation, manifest, tangible, whatever. Sculpting, again, the very obvious, and programming. So I do feel like it's obvious that it is creation, but because it is in the digital realm, it's a little more gray. So like this video is also a digital creation, but like still something, still tangible. I can point to it. I can point to you. Yeah, so those are the continuously engraving forms of creation. And now the edge cases. So this was the point that took like a lot of time. So a lot of edge cases, because like I don't know. It's weird because I think when you like focus on a task and then consume a bunch of knowledge to learn how to accomplish the task, and then do the task, and let's assume it's for some creation or whatever. Like I want to learn how to sculpt a human being, so I watch an hour-long video on the sculpting, and then I do 15 minutes of sculpting. I would count that full hour and 15 minutes because my goal was always in mind. My intention was for that act of creation. So we'll count all the non-actualized creation of like the prep work. We will count that. But if I instead watched the video and then didn't sculpt anything, I would consider that just consumption. That would be non-actualized creation. And if I didn't like actually sculpt anything that day, then I would say it doesn't really, you can't actualize that hour. Like the next day I could sculpt and it'd be nice that I watched the video, but because it's like discontinuous, we're not gonna count that. We're not gonna count that. How am I gonna win this? How am I gonna get him? How am I gonna get you? I am pretty used to writing things. I do a whole lot of fucking writing all the goddamn time. Or maybe not, now it's all the time. It used to be less so. But anywho, I don't want to start a timer every time I'm writing, so I do a lot of like little entries. There have been some times where I like set aside a block, like okay, for this 30 minutes I'm gonna start writing about so and so, and that feels good. But there are a lot of times when I'm just like writing general thoughts or like an immediate fascination, whatever. So I did a little bit of working out the units of minutes per line written. I took a blank page and I wrote just straight without stopping at all, like just a stream of consciousness, and then used a timer for that, and I just did the lines divided by the time, or time divided by the lines, because the units matter. Beginning or the end. This can all be edited. You don't have to go so fast when the lines. Here's the real kicker. I don't think I'm going to use this again, but the act of recording video feels like the closest one-to-one, not one-to-one, it just seems like the best value of like, I am just existing right now, but because I'm recording something, like without a doubt, I am spending this amount of time creating something. And I think that should count in general, like the recording of the video. And since I'm explicitly sharing it, like I have the purpose of putting my thoughts out there, you know? I think that should count. And so that video, hopefully I'm pointing at the right thing, time lapse of me cleaning my depression room for an hour. And that's a full hour. That's a full hour of creation done just like that. But I won't use something like that again because this is explicitly for the use case of showing ways in which this is useful for like racking up time. So instead, I'll make sure it's something else, something a little more nice. You know, I mean, I guess that's about it. This is what 9 or so minutes thing. And then we wanted to finish off with what? I really wanted this to have a bunch of visuals. I wanted to learn a bit of editing. I wanted to include like some graphs and stuff. But I did give myself a very arbitrary deadline. I think it is important to have those types of restrictions because it pushes the progress. Otherwise, again, I'm very content in just being mediocre. So there you go. Thanks for listening to this blabber blibby blobber. Appreciate it. Peace.